Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. On this channel I talk about fragrance, skincare, fashion, and the finer things in life. And today we're going to be talking about 5 Tom Ford fragrances. What are they? Alright, Oud Wood, Tobacco Vanille, Vanille Fatale, Tuscan Leather, and finally we will talk about Noir de Noir. So if you have any questions in your mind regarding these very famous, best-selling Tom Ford fragrances, this video is for you. What are you gonna do? Go grab a drink if you're feeling a little thirsty, or go grab a snack if you're feeling a little hungry. Come find me here with Tom Ford and we're gonna start our conversation. Alright, so today we're talking about Tom Ford. I have 5 Tom Ford fragrances and I'm also gonna show you 2 more Tom Ford fragrances at the end of this video. So who is Tom Ford? Tom Ford is a designer. Tom Ford is not a niche brand. He worked for Yves Saint Laurent. He transformed Gucci and then he created his own brand. And I think Tom Ford fragrances are as American as chocolate chip cookie. So when I think about American perfumery, the only thing that comes to my mind is Tom Ford fragrances. I'm sure there will be some people out there disagreeing with me, but when I see the Tom Ford portfolio and the fragrances, I think it's very American, well, designer too. So why these 5 fragrances? So we are talking about Vanille Fatale, Tobacco Vanille, Tuscan Leather, Noir de Noir, and Oud Wood. They are very famous Tom Ford fragrances. Not almost everyone, but frag heads, frag community, they know these fragrances. We have all tested these fragrances in the department store, and they are very known fragrances. But I'm gonna give you my take on them. So, disclaimer. I do not have the full bottles of these fragrances, and I will never have the full bottles of these fragrances because you will not find me smelling these 5 fragrances that we're going to be talking about today. But this does not mean that these are bad fragrances. On the contrary, I think they are very well made and they are really solid releases. However, they are not my favorites and they are not my cup of tea. What I did though, alright, so I have decants here. So I ordered decants again the moment I decided to make this video to remind myself of these 5 fragrances. And then, I wanted to see, I wanted to review them again, to see, how my taste has changed. Do I still feel the same about these 5 fragrances, or do I have a newfound respect or liking to these 5 fragrances? I'm gonna share all of these with you, and I don't have a particular order today, so we're gonna play it by ear. So 5 decants and 2 full bottles, but those are separate. I'm just gonna quickly talk about them because I wanted to show you some full bottles that I have now that we have a Tom Ford video, and we're gonna do that at the end of this video. However, alright, let's start with these 5 fragrances that I have been talking about since the beginning of this video. Alright, no more BSing. Alright, so let's start with Private Blend Tuscan Leather. Alright, here it is. Tuscan Leather is a leather fragrance and Tom Ford likes leather. Tom Ford does a lot of leather fragrances. What are they? What are the examples? For instance, Ombre Leather. And recently they came up with Ombre Leather Le Parfum concentration. Fucking Fabulous. Fucking Fabulous is a leather fragrance. Almond, tonka bean, and leather. What else? Tuscan Leather. And then he also has Tuscan Leather Intense. But today we're going to be talking about the main, real Tuscan Leather that they put out there. So let me just spray it on my hand just lightly. There is an opening that feels like a little car dealership, There is a plant feeling, kind of like factory feeling in this fragrance, and that might be off-putting for many out there. When it comes to this kind of opening, it usually happens if there is real high quality oud in the fragrance. However, as we know from the name of it, there is no oud in here. This is purely a Swedish kind of like, car seat leather vibe that hits you in the nose when this fragrance opens up. But in order to counteract that harshness, in order to balance that, what Tom Ford team did is add more fruity touches, kind of like sweet, vanillic, fruity, kind of like, red fruits, kind of those vibes, that we have in designer fragrances and especially Tom Ford fragrances, those like dried fruit, red fruit, vanillic notes. They have it in here to counterbalance the leatheriness of this fragrance. What we have at the end of the day is a solid leather fragrance for sure. It is, I think, unique. It started this, leather raspberry accord, and then the kind of like a gourmandish feeling to it. I think other brands kind of replicated this. What are the other ones that come to my mind? Exniolo, Love Shot is another leather raspberry, kind of like Tuscan leather feeling fragrance. I like that fragrance too. I actually prefer that over this, but this is not bad at all. Speaking of leather fragrances, I done a video on leather fragrances, and I did not include Tuscan leather in that list, and I'm not regretting that. In that video, we talked about, particularly Chanel's Cuir de Russie. So when you think about Chanel's Cuir de Russie and Tom Ford's Tuscan leather, I think these are two different leather fragrances. So in Chanel's world, we have the aldehydic champagne-like opening with leather and very, very, very well-blended white floral touches. But here we have kind of like sharp, not as well blended leather with, fruity, vanilla, gourmandish, kind of like Tom Ford DNA. So when I look at the picture, I still prefer Chanel's Cuir de Russie when it comes to leather fragrances, but know that, this is a different kind of leather. This might be your cup of tea if you're wanting more like, fruity, gourmandish leather with Tom Ford twist. This could be a good fragrance for you. Performance is there, right up there, kind of like 6 to 8 hours. And as this fragrance dries down on your skin, it becomes more bearable. It becomes more, subdued and then more approachable, kind of more ambery, kind of like less leatherish, classic Tom Ford dry down, which is even better. So if you like the smell, if you have tried it, and if you like Tom Ford, and if you want Tuscan leather on your vanity, I think this can be recommended. Alright, so the next one, apparently on the list, is Tobacco Vanille. Wow. Alright, so this is a really famous fragrance, best-selling fragrance. This is an excellent vanilla fragrance with tobacco. You have the sweetness, chewiness of the tobacco here. You have kind of like a fruity touch that comes from plums here. It is very nice. I have to tell you that. Again, on this channel, I have a video of vanilla fragrances, and we don't happen to see Tobacco Vanille or Vanille Fatale that we're going to be talking about next in that video, and I still stand behind that because I'm not really ambitious when it comes to vanilla fragrances. I've said this before, the number of mornings I wake up saying to myself that, oh my God, I have to smell vanilla this morning, today, is very numbered, It's not my, thing. So when it comes to vanilla and the vanilla fragrances, maybe I'm not the best reviewer out there. However, I still stand of my list that I created back then. I showed you Alien, Absolute, amazing vanilla fragrance. Inicio Parfum Privé, Absolute aphrodisiac, very grown up, very sexy, leathery vanilla fragrance. So you can still definitely check them out. Oh, Toyota Adulte, That's a good vanilla fragrance too, with musk, created by Francis Kurkdjian. So those three, still, I stand behind. Tobacco Vanille, really good. Really high quality vanilla fragrance. I think this is very enjoyable too. There is that tobacco gourmand feeling, plum chewiness, kind of like cigar drawer that you're opening up. You're getting the tobacco here, but you're also getting that Tom Ford vanilla. So this fragrance is actually linear, but that's not a kind of like a bad thing, because the smell, if you like it, it's linear and it's gonna be in the world out there on your skin, and it's gonna be traveling with you. So the smell, the nice smell this fragrance has, is gonna be on your skin for for a very long time, because this is very good when it comes to performance department. I think this is a fragrance you can garner compliments again, but like, people having like, vanilla and the tobacco gourmandish vibe as their like, thing, favorite notes. I think this is gonna get you complimented. This is completely unisex. I don't believe in gender. Anyone can wear anything, but this is, pure gourmandish tobacco vanille concoction, unisex. Again, like the first one, if you like the smell, if you like the brand, and if you want a vanilla fragrance with tobacco, which is unique, I think tobacco vanille could be the one for you. All right, the third fragrance we are talking about today is Oud Wood. Wow, another unique, another very, very solid release from Tom Ford. Wow, I think Oud Wood has been kind of like copied or duplicated, or kind of other brands got their inspirations from Tom Ford Oud Wood. Wow, you know what? As I sprayed this in the air, even like, Incio Parfum Privé Oud for Greatness, which is great, which is still my favorite oud fragrance, I'm still, I feel the similarities. This is an amazing release. Again, I will never have the full bottle, but if you want an oud fragrance with kind of like cardamom, that kind of like woody touches, that is wearable, still masculine, and also very attractive, I think I'm not gonna, drag this along. Oud Wood is great. Performance is great. Tom Ford with Oud Wood, I think. Oh my god. I think I sprayed too much in the air. Alright, I think with Oud Wood, Tom Ford, you know, nailed it. It's a great oud, wearable oud fragrance. I don't know how much real oud we have in here, because I'm actually dealing with oud on this channel, and I have videos uh, of oud fragrances, kind of like the list one, list two, and I also talked about Maison Francis Kurkdjian's oud fragrances. Um, this is very nice. You know what? I actually said the same thing, when I reviewed Initio Parfum Privé's Oud for Greatness. I don't know how much real high quality oud in there, but it's so modern. It's still like woody, kind of like spicy. It's very attractive. I think we can say all these same like commands, like same points for Oud Wood as well, but this comes from Tom Ford. And if you are very sympathetic, and if you are very fond of Tom Ford, you can definitely check Oud Wood. All right. Whoa. Fourth fragrance we are talking about today is actually Tobacco Vanille's brother or sister or whatever, Vanille Fatale. So Vanille Fatale is a vanilla fragrance from Tom Ford. I think it dates back to 2017, I guess. So let's talk about this. So think about black orchid, kind of like a dark chocolate truffle, and then the that black orchid vibe DNA, and then we have the violet bottle, that is also the same but different, and then the other orchid, we have the orchid soleil. So all those fragrances, the three fragrances, imagine them if you have smelled them. Think about the DNA they have. Think about the Tom Ford signature they have throughout those three signature line fragrances. And take that, grab that from that signature collection and take it to the private line and then combine it with a really nice vanilla. I think this is this fragrance I'm holding right now, Vanille Fatale, is what happens as a result of that action. You're getting the orchid kind of like, DNA from the signature line, and then you are combining with vanilla, but then you are not making it really out there as tobacco vanille, but you're still keeping the gourmand touches. You're still keeping the striking effect of Tom Ford vanilla, but you're making it more wearable. So if you like tobacco vanilla and if you like wearing tobacco vanilla in colder months or at night, I think Vanille Fatale could be your signature fragrance 24/7, 365, in my opinion. So what I'm gonna say is that if you are a fan of tobacco vanilla and if you want something that is less pronounced, more wearable, more approachable, and more daily wear friendly, I think the address is Tom Ford Private Blend Vanille Fatale. The last fragrance we are talking about today is Tom Ford Noir de Noir. But before we go into Noir de Noir, I'm gonna take a sip. Wow. Alright, so Tom Ford Noir de Noir, oud fragrance, rose fragrance, vanilla slash sugar concoction. I told you, I deal with oud fragrances, and on this channel, we divide oud fragrances on the market into two categories. One of them is rose and oud fragrances, no vanilla sugary touch. So, for the sake of this Tom Ford video, we are not really focusing on rose and oud fragrances. However, we are focusing in that category of oud fragrances where we have oud, rose, and vanilla slash sugar, kind of like a core, the combination of these three. So when we think about this combination, what fragrances come to our minds? Lancome Oud Bouquet. Oud Bouquet can be regarded as oud, rose, vanilla slash sugar slash praline fragrance, but the rose in that fragrance is not really pronounced. It's really taken back. It's not really there, but still it feels like this kind of like rose oud sugary fragrance, which I like a lot. I still think that it's the best Lancome fragrance, and to be honest, I like it more than Noir de Noir. What else? Sergioff, More Than Words. I think More Than Words is another rose oud vanilla slash sugar combination, but what they did in that particular fragrance called More Than Words is that they really, really bumped up the fruity sugariness. It's almost like composed, kind of like a fruity vinegar feeling. They also, kind of like filed out the rose, and then they combined it with like oud, and they created another rose oud vanilla slash sugar slash fruit combination, which I like a lot. I like too. I talked about it, then I decluttered it. I'm not really wearing it because Lancome Oud Bouquet is really, hitting the, spot for me at this point. However, I'm gonna be really honest. Tom Ford Noir de Noir is also very nice. So think about Armani's private line, Armani Privé Rose d'Arabie. So in my opinion, Rose d'Arabie is another rose oud, vanilla slash sugar slash patchouli fragrance. And if you like Armani's Rose d'Arabie, I think you might fall in love with Tom Ford's Noir de Noir. And I think Tom Ford's Noir de Noir, this kind of like combination of three and the Accord, is actually one of the first ones on the market. And after Noir de Noir, they came up with that, sugary, woody, kind of like gourmandish, rosy fragrances. It kind of like, escalated from that point on. But Tom Ford's Noir de Noir place is still solid. It's a very, very solid fragrance release. It's really nice. Would I wear this? Yes, if you gift me the full bottle of this, yes, I would wear it. But I'm not gonna go and get the full bottle of it because I have other oud fragrances that I talked about on this channel. But this is really nice. Beginner friendly oud, sweet gourmandish, rose, kind of like Middle Eastern Arabic touches, but also that kind of like, the truffle, kind of like the patchouli truffle thing that Tom Ford has in other fragrances. Also kind of like oak mossy touches in this fragrance. Really nice. Performance is really nice too. Very pleasing. I can really recommend Noir de Noir with my eyes closed. If you like Tom Ford and if you wanna venture out and dip your toes into the oud ocean. Alright, so you're watching this video, it's been 20 minutes, and then you're like, this guy has been showing decants. Doesn't he have any full bottles? Yes, I talked about Jasmin Rouge in the earlier videos. I had a bottle, I decluttered it, I like it. It's a beautiful, indolic, kind of spicy, really nice jasmine scent, very suitable for fall and winter. We also talked about Tom Ford Soleil Blanc, one of the white bottles, for, summer designer fragrances. Really nice. However, I decluttered those, but right now I have two bottles. One of them is my favorite Tom Ford of all times, and this is called Tom Ford Santal Blush, and we're going to be talking about this in another video. The other full bottle I have is actually a full bottle that I never thought I would still have with me, and this is called Tubéreuse Nue. I started out kind of like questioning this fragrance and then the money. I still think that $350 is a lot when it comes to Tubéreuse Nue. However, I cannot seem to declutter this because this is a beautiful Tubéreuse, kind of like peppery leather fragrance. So nice. And the way this dries down on your skin, it feels like a really expensive veil of fragrance. It is beautiful. It is really elevating your fragrance game, and I think I will always have Tubéreuse Nue with me, and if I run out of this bottle, I'm gonna get another one, and this is always gonna be right up there, maybe a little lower than Tom Ford Santal Blush, which is my favorite. Oh my god, thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Wow. Please let me know down in the comment section which Tom Ford fragrances you like, which ones you don't like. What do you think of Tom Ford fragrances? I want to know. So, on this channel, each and every video comes in two different languages. One of them is in Turkish, and the other one is in English, and they are exactly the same. And you have just watched the English version, Tom Ford fragrances. Please leave a comment, like or dislike this video. And if you have been watching my channel and if you keep coming to my videos frequently, please consider subscribing because it really helps tremendously, and it also ensures the continuity of my channel where we review fragrances without external interference. How does that sound? Perfect, huh? Thank you so much, and I will see you at the next one. Take care, everyone.